You know who else showed well in the camp setting? Our next guest. He came up to Michigan's camp. Not a lot of people knew who he was. I remember because, the media wasn't allowed in those camps. I haven't told Deuce this. So media wasn't allowed at those camps. So there was a coach, Coach Will McMichael from Belleville. He called me up. And his son is one of the rising linebackers. Jeremiah Beasley is what, 24, Bryce?
He's 24.
Yeah. So Jeremiah Beasley, ball player, big time linebacker in this state. Remember the name Jeremiah Beasley if you don't know it. But he didn't call me talk about Jeremiah. He called me and he said, "Hey man, who is this kid, Deuce Spurlock?" He said, "Man, this dude is up here killing it at this camp." He said, "Did Michigan offer him?" I said, "No, I don't think he has offer." He said, "Man, they better offer this guy." And next thing you know, Deuce Spurlock came away from that camp with that offer. He joins us now, fresh off of signing his national letter of intent to the Maize and Blue, and he is officially a Wolverine. Deuce, congratulations on putting pen to paper, man, and officially becoming a Wolverine.
Thank you. It's great, to be honest. I can't wait to get up there.
So take us back to that camp experience, Deuce. I know we've had this conversation before, but relive it for us and relive it for the fans of what was on your mind when you came up. Did you come here expecting to get an offer? Did you feel like, I got to prove it to him? What did you think as you set foot in Ann Arbor?
Man, to be honest, I was just up there trying to get better at my craft and all that. But I was just really in awe because I was in Michigan. It's like the best school in the country. So it's something like you got to have a high expectation for yourself. So going through that camp, I was thinking, all right, I'm doing pretty good. All that stuff. I caught a pick. Then I got it back. And then the thing that really stuck out to me, though, was Coach Hilo made me run because I took my eyes off my man. Like, that's real right there. So that's really what stuck with me. And I was like, dang, that's crazy. You really made me run. I was like, that's crazy. Like, you really made me run. So
it's like, come on, coach. It's like, hey, man, this is a camp, man. This is a camp, right? But you got that offer. So you know, players know when they're doing well. So you knew you were doing well at the camp. Did you think as you were doing well, man, I'm going to get this offer? Did you think that, or did it catch you by surprise?
I kind of thought I was going to get it, but still, though, just getting the offer, it kind of just sends you a little shock. So I was like, I got the offer, but man, it's crazy. Like, this is Michigan. So yeah, it kind of still sent me in a little shock.
So how did that manifest? How did that shock manifest? Were you were there tears? Was your mom, I think your mom was with you, right? I mean, what was the reaction of you and your family when you got that offer?
So crazy story. So I was going to take some pictures. I think it was just me and my vent. Oh, who was it? It was me, my mentor, and my mom. And so we was coming down. I was getting ready to go take the pictures, about to walk in, take a photo shoot. And my mentor, Vince, he was like, dude, let's go. You got to get undressed. And I was like, what's happening? He was like, come on, we got to get undressed. So I go in there, I take all my stuff off, put all my clothes back on and stuff. I head up, and we're going in there. We're going to an office. It was like, So I kind of know it's happening. So I was like, now I see why it's coming to get me. So we went in there, talked to Coach Hilo, Coach Mack, and they just offered me. I was like, yeah. Couldn't stop smiling. And my mom, we came back. My mom, she was like, she didn't want me to tell nobody. Mama tell them still. She was there crying and stuff. I was like, dang. So yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, she saw that checkbook. She's like, I don't have to pay for college. That's what the tears are about. And so, we've been covering. So Bryce and I, so this is a story, and you can confirm this for us, because we were trying to figure out, hey, we think Deuce is getting close to committing to Michigan. And I think it was your grandmother is on Twitter. And she said, this is before you made your decision. She said, yeah, I got to get my winter coat ready. I got to go get my winter coat. And I was like, that must mean Deuce is coming to Michigan. So was she talking about Michigan at that point?
Yeah, she was.
I figured that was the case. But this linebacker class, Bryce, we know that George Hilo really prioritized speed, quickness, athleticism, and coachability. And so that was one of the things that stuck out to me, Bryce. I wonder if it stuck out to you that way.
Yeah, I mean, you watch Deuce play. He can obviously play sideline to sideline, but I think what was even more impressive is Deuce. You can correct me if I'm wrong. You had nearly 200 tackles. I mean,
Yes, sir.
it's
186, so pretty close,
was.
almost.
I mean,
186 tackles in a season?
In a
Like
season.
one season?
Yes, sir.
Man, is that like a record at your school?
Well, for our school, yeah, it is. I had 186 and 27 or 30 tackles for a loss and 8 sacks.
Ooh.
So I think the 186 and the 27 tackles for a loss were a record.
That's got to be like Madden numbers. Like you don't just get those numbers. But no, Deuce, I asked you this morning because I was curious too. George Hilo did a good job with recruiting you up to the very end too, because you told me, hey, just because I committed to Michigan, that don't mean other schools don't like me as well. I mean, you said Auburn, Clemson, Florida, even Washington came in. So can you just talk about that process of now, you think you're committed, you think you're good, and all of a sudden you got all these schools just reaching out and calling you and trying to flip you.
Yeah, the crazy thing, my mentor Vince, the same guy who I was up there with, he was like, at the beginning of the summer, he was like, "You're gonna go to one of these camps and you're gonna blow up." And I was like, "Well, what happens." And then he said, at the end of the recruiting trail, they're gonna start calling you and texting you, trying to get you to flip. And I was like, I don't think they'll do all that. So we fast forward to now, it's like I had a lot of people calling me, texting me, and it was crazy because like what he said was true, and I was getting like crazy texts and all that type of stuff like every day, like calls and all that type of stuff. So it was crazy, but just listening to Michigan and what they had to say to me, it kind of stuck with me, and just the camp experience that I had, it wasn't something I could pass up on, and the brotherhood that we have there, especially like how close we are as a class, but how close they are as a football team, that's something I couldn't pass on.
I could tell, and I want to toss it over to Steve. I mean, I could tell what kind of season you were having without seeing your numbers by seeing the different schools that came in, man. I mean, Auburn was turning up the heat. We heard Florida was starting to show you some love. I mean, there are some other schools that were starting to come. I think maybe Clemson, some other schools were coming in there. So who were all the schools that started showing you love based on the season you were having?
Auburn, Clemson, Florida, Washington, Boston College tried to get back into it. Vandy, I'm trying to think. South Carolina. That's as far as my memory's taking me right now. Syracuse. That's as far as my memory's taking me right now, but I'll probably think of something later.
Yeah, so Steve, I know when you saw Clemson, that was one of the ones that I think got your attention.
Yeah, Clemson and Florida definitely got my attention.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know another school that was recruiting you thought you reminded them a lot of Clemson's linebackers that Clemson has had in their defense. I assume that was maybe the dialogue with Clemson that you would be a good fit in their defense. My question was, do you have any? You already told one pretty good story about George Hilo. I kind of want to know more about what it's like to be recruited by Coach Hilo, as he seems like a pretty unique guy and coach on the recruiting trail.
He's some of the stuff I can't say, but let me just tell you this. Coach Hilo's definitely like one of the top 5 funniest people I know. Like, hey, everything he says has a purpose to it, but he gets like the right words to say it. So just, man, let me just tell you, he did not want me going anywhere else. I'll just say it like that. He didn't want me going anywhere. So
Hey, so you came on a visit. So there's some guys in the 23 class that you're kind of connected to with when it comes to, man, I don't know how well you know them, but they see your game, saw your tape. So Michigan got Raylan Wilson and talking about, hey, you got some speed coming up from the South, you from Alabama, Raylan from Florida. When you were on campus, maybe the freakiest athlete Nicholas Harbor. Yeah, Nicholas Harbor. You were on campus with Nick Harbor. So I'm curious, had you heard of him before you met him? And when you got home, did you have to look him up to say, man, to see if what they said about him was true?
Yeah, I had to. For him to be that tall, that fast, but that strong, that's like some generational stuff right there. Like, they're amazing athletes on this earth, but then there's like people who's just born with it. So they're like, that's something like you can't teach all that. So for him to be like, he's definitely like, he's a freak of an athlete. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And so that was the day you committed, and that seemed to have a real impact on him. I'm curious, Deuce, maybe not necessarily those two guys, but just in general. I mean, had you taken an active role in trying to recruit other guys? And if you haven't in the past, are you going to do that in the future?
I took a little bit. So I did a little bit of recruiting, but I definitely will be recruiting harder in the future. So we can get our point across. Like, who wouldn't want to come to Michigan? Like, that's the motto. So
I got you. So what's next for you on the agenda? When do you get to Ann Arbor? Sort of take us through what's on the horizon for Deuce Spurlock.
For now, I want to finish school, get over a 3.5, 3.6. Then after that, I'm going to be working like crazy. Try to get my body in football shape, even though football season can really prepare you for that. But I'll be in Ann Arbor May. So it'll be during the summer, but I'll be working just like I was there. So that's the gist for me.
Now, I know nothing is promised, but did they talk about the opportunity to see the field early? I mean, what's the conversation about when it comes to when they say you might be able to see the field?
Definitely how I develop. If I pick up the playbook and all that fast, I can see the field. So it just depends on really myself. It's how I want to play it. So if I put in the work and all that stuff, I'll be able to see the field early.
Gotcha. Well, Deuce, so happy for you, man. I know you worked hard for it. You worked hard for that offer. We saw it. And the culmination of it, to be able to commit and then ultimately sign today. Just super happy for you, super happy for your family, and congratulations, and looking forward to seeing you when you get to Ann Arbor.
Thank you.